Some fan bases are just better than others. It's just a fact of life.
Oh, this is beautiful. I mean, that's how I want Cowboy fans to look. Ooh, look at them. Look at that.
Unfortunately for some NFL teams, not all fan bases are loyal. Let's call out the best and worst supporters in the NFL as we take a look at the 5 most loyal fan bases and the 5 least loyal. Most loyal, Green Bay Packers. There is zero questioning that the Cheeseheads have earned their place on this list. Among all NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL teams in the US, the Packers are the only community-owned franchise. The city of Green Bay itself is home to just over 100,000 folks, but this small market team is one of the world's most historic franchises, and it starts with the longtime loyalty of the Cheeseheads. Lambeau Field has sold out every home game since 1960, so if that's not loyalty to you folks, I don't know what is. Yes, the Packers have been a perennial winner in the Super Bowl era. Having Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers really helps. So they're obviously going to attract a large portion of bandwagon fans outside of Wisconsin. But in the Green Bay area itself, the Packers have nothing but devoted and loyal fans. Even when they had a few bad years here and there, Lambeau Field was always bumping as if it were a playoff game. Football isn't just a sport in Green Bay, it is practically a lifestyle. Honestly, there is nothing like a game day in Titletown, and it's mostly thanks to the boisterous and tremendous passion of the Packers faithful. Worst, Los Angeles Chargers. It is still sad to remember how Dean Spanos showed total disregard to the longtime football fans of San Diego. Moving the team to the glamorous Los Angeles market seemed like a good idea on paper, but it has done next to nothing in terms of growing the Charger fan base. For one, Los Angeles isn't exactly the biggest football city. Secondly, the Los Angeles Rams clearly have the greater following among the city's 2 teams. And for very obvious reasons. The team actually played in LA from 1946 to 94, so there were already Rams roots in the City of Angels. Secondly, the Rams have been a perennial contender since moving to LA. They won Super Bowl 56 inside their home venue of SoFi Stadium, so bandwagon football fans in Los Angeles would be way more inclined to cheer for the Rams over the Bolts. And since the team's moved to LA, you've probably noticed the ridiculous amount of visiting fans packing up the Chargers' home venues. It is basically an extra home game for any team that has an away contest against the Bolts on their schedule. And it's not like they don't have stars to attract an audience. Justin Herbert, Joey Bosa, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Khalil Mack, Derwin James? How can you not get interested in a star-studded team like that? Most loyal, Buffalo Bills. From 2000 to 2016, there were few, if any, sports franchises that went through as much misery as the Buffalo Bills. Once a model organization that reached 4 straight Super Bowls from 1990 to 93, the Bills gradually sunk to the ocean of despair in the new millennium. They didn't make the playoffs even once from 2000 to 2016 before finally ending the drought in 2017. After winning a playoff game in 1995, Bills Mafia wouldn't get to celebrate another postseason W for 25 years. When Josh Allen finally broke through by leading them to the AFC Championship game in 2020. But you know what? Through the good and the bad, Bills Mafia continued to stand by their team. Highmark Stadium was always rocking. Whether it was Week 1 or a meaningless Week 17 game, the Buffalo faithful never stopped showing up to support their team. Worst, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The longtime loyal Buccaneers fans will understandably be discontent with the team's placing on this list, but proof is in the pudding. This fan base, at least in the actual Tampa Bay market, simply isn't loyal unless they're winning. Before Tom Brady arrived and changed everything in 2020, the Bucs were constantly near the very bottom in NFL attendance, at least according to ESPN's figures. For instance, they averaged just 51,898 fans per game in 2019, the 3rd fewest in the NFL, which marked the last season of the Jameis Winston era. But once Brady arrived, well, sure enough, season ticket sales went through the roof. And when he unretired in 2022, well, yeah, it was more the same. Sorry, but that just isn't what a passionate and loyal football fan base is all about. That's called supporting your local team only when they're winning.
They're losers.
Where you been? The isotopes are on fire.
Woo! Topes rule! Well, here's a diehard fan.
Most loyal Denver Broncos. We could just leave you with this one stat and call it a day, but we'll take a further dive anyway. So here's that stat. The Broncos have sold out every home game since 1970. This team was a model organization under Pat Bowlen, winning 3 Super Bowl championships between the 1997 to 2015 seasons. The organization endured a roller coaster of a ride through the 2000s, and after Peyton Manning's 2016 retirement, the Broncos sank to the bottom of the AFC standings. But competitive or not, Denver fans have continuously packed Mile High. They went above and beyond in cheering on this team, even in the days where Jay Cutler, Kyle Orton, Tim Tebow, Trevor Siemian, Brock Osweiler, and Drew Lock were their quarterbacks. Worst, Washington Commanders. We feel kind of bad about placing the Commanders on this list because Dan Snyder single-handedly makes this franchise difficult to support, even if you grew up supporting this team in the years before he took over as the owner. But we gotta be honest here, a large portion of sports teams don't exactly have great owners. You think most Dallas Cowboys fans love Jerry Jones? You think the New York Yankees faithful are thrilled with Steinbrenner being considerably cheaper than his late father? It's possible to support your team while also disapproving of the owner. But attendance for the Washington NFL franchise has regressed rapidly over the years. And like the Chargers, you're seeing way too many Commanders home games that are being taken over by the away team's fans. Even for a can't-miss home game against Tom Brady's Buccaneers in 2021, the Commanders only had a reported attendance of 52,128. FedEx Field, by the way, has a capacity of 82,000. Washington has actually finished dead last in attendance percentage in 2 of the last 3 seasons with fans. They were at the bottom of the NFL in 2018 and 2021. The moral of the story is, just because you have a bad owner, it doesn't mean thousands and thousands of fans should suddenly give up on supporting their team. Most loyal, Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have been one of America's most successful franchises since the start of the Super Bowl era. Like Green Bay, the city of Pittsburgh itself is really a small market compared to giants like New York, Boston, Chicago, Houston, and Los Angeles. But just watch a few minutes of a Steelers home game, be it in person or on TV, and the crowd noise alone would make you think that this city has more than 300,000 people. The Steelers fan base is so massive that they even have their own Wikipedia page. If you watch just about any Pittsburgh away game, you'll notice a large number of terrible towels. I mean, who can forget the time where Steelers Nation invaded Jerry's World back in 2012? There are few sporting atmospheres louder and more raucous than a Steelers home game. Steel City loves its NFL team, through the good and the bad. Fortunately for the Steelers faithful, it's been mostly good years over the last half-century. Worst, Dallas Cowboys. We mean no disrespect to the diehard Dallas Cowboys fans who've stuck by their team even in the maddeningly frustrating 21st century. But let's not overlook the not so loyal and annoying parts of the fan base either. What's the term again? Oh yeah, it's the bandwagon fans. Everyone recognizes the Cowboys logo, and we all know about the many celebrities that were or still are associated with this team. It's just so irritating hearing Cowboys fans say, "This is our year," every single year. Those are the types of people that have to Google who the likes of Russell Maryland, Larry Brown, Tony Dorsett, and Drew Pearson are. And also, don't you find it kind of silly how often AT&T Stadium is invaded by the away team's fans? I mean, the San Francisco 49ers faithful took over the venue for their 2021 wildcard game against the Cowboys. And why does it seem like there are more Packers fans than Boys fans whenever these teams meet? Aren't the Cowboys supposed to have the best fan base? Yeah, well, I guess not. Most loyal, Cleveland Browns. The Browns have been the epitome of everything that no football fan base wants. bad ownership, horrid management, terrible coaching, woeful quarterback play, non-stop losing seasons, championship droughts, atrocious drafting, and so much more. The Browns are by far America's saddest sports franchise. This team hasn't had anything major to celebrate since the end of the 80s. And yet, you will not find a more energetic and committed fan base than the Dog Pound. Cleveland fans were heartbroken when their franchise packed up and moved to Baltimore, where they became the Ravens. These loyal folks were rewarded in 1999, however, when the franchise was reactivated, or so they thought. From 1999 to 2021, the Browns only made the postseason twice, and they won just a single playoff game. Yet, the Dog Pound is always full of electrifying noise, even when it's a meaningless final game of the regular season for their club. There's just something special about the Browns fan base. It's like they've come to embrace the heartbreak, pain, and misery of being a Cleveland sports fan. Worst, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars consistently rank near the bottom third in attendance. Well, except for the 2017 season when they made a trip to the AFC Championship game. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to find empty seats at TIAA Bank Field. In fact, Jaguars owner Shad Khan should kindly thank all the visiting team's fans for helping to put butts in the seats, because it is not all that rare for a Jaguars home game to look more like a road game for the AFC South basement dwellers. Why are the Jaguars assigned a game in Europe every year? Why are there never-ending rumors about them relocating to London? Well, because Duval County just generally does not care enough about football. Yes, the Jags have been constant losers since 2008, but just look at the Browns and Bills supporters. They've stood by their teams through the darkest of days. So it's not an excuse for Jaguars fans to just bail whenever times are tough. But which NFL fan base do you think is the least loyal? Join us in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.